What's up, guys? This is Matt, that's Dan, and that's Opie over there, and you are watching our live Game of Thrones after show. Now, we're doing this one night late. We normally do this on Sunday right after we watch Game of Thrones, but technical problems got us down last night, so we had to postpone it. But and apologies if I sound terrible. I'm in a hotel room. I'm here all week while everybody else is at home playing Overwatch.
But you know, so you're rocking the iPhone mic, and I have to say,
Yeah, I'm gonna say things too.
We all have a lot of things to say, most notably hold the door, but we'll get there.
Don't even bring it up.
Too soon. So, like always, we're going to run through everything that happened in Game of Thrones last night, and believe me, there was a lot of it. So, Dan, get us started, because it's a roller
We'll do
coaster.
like we always do. What did you guys think of the episode? I thought it was the best of the series. Or not best of the
Series?
season.
Oh, season.
Best of the season. And probably a top 5 episode, maybe top 10 episode of the whole show. It was wow. It was sad, it was heartbreaking, and it was wow.
Yeah, I
it
concur.
still left a lot of stuff open. Still had a lot of stuff. You're like, okay, cool. And then it's like it even opened up a new can of worms. Like, you know, what's up with with Littlefinger? And like, did you guys expect that to go down? And like, holy crap! And
Yep, there was some really good things that went down, and a lot of good stuff that we still haven't seen yet that's coming. So
Littlefinger gets places quick, I've noticed.
he is. He's
He
got a
does.
very fast carriage.
Yeah. But yeah, I thought it was best of the season. I don't know about 5, but definitely top 10 of the series.
I don't know, I was trying
But
to,
yeah,
we were,
best of the season by far, up to this point, yeah.
we were trying to think of what episodes we'd throw up there, and it was hard to put like a top 5 together, and this could be one of those. I'm just saying.
There's a lot of them.
Yep. Okay, so as always, I have the notes that tell us about the story that we watched.
That's a lot of notes.
Yeah.
And they all just say repeatedly, hold the door, hold the door, hold the
That's
door,
all I
hold the door.
wrote. That's all I wrote. Hold the door. So let's get into this. We're going to start off with Sansa. She's mending some clothing, you know, doing her work, doing some things, odd things. Comes in and gets a message from someone, Night's Watch, I guess, has brought it in. Somebody brings her a note. Who knows? Somebody passed her a letter in class. She receives a message. It's got the symbol of the Eyrie on there, the veil. And she opens it up and she asks, you know, how do I get to Moldtown? And then we see Littlefinger standing down there, hanging out in Moldtown in a burnt-out house, it looked like, or maybe that's just a normal residence in Moldtown. And not the most expensive place to stay. And she comes in and starts talking to Littlefinger. And Littlefinger's like, hey, I was really worried about you after I left you with the most deadliest man in the world. And Sansa's like,
Right.
right. Sansa's just staring at him, and she's ticked off. She's like, either you knew who Ramsay was,
wait.
which means you're my enemy, or you didn't, and that
Wait.
makes you an idiot.
wait for a second, Dad. I have to stop you. I want to do my Bran impression. It's like,
do it.
and then he comes in and she's like, hello. 'Cause I'm here. I'm gonna cut you.
Nice.
Does she like pull her sword out just a little bit?
Well, she kind of grabbed it. She's like,
Do
Sansa,
it. He's like,
Lady
she's the
Stark
whole
just
time
asked you a question.
She's totally talking through her teeth. Like, do it.
So bad.
Blood magic. Here's a blood magic a couple of times under her.
So she's Sansa sitting there. She's yelling like, "What do you think he did to me? What do you think? Oh well, I don't even want to think. No, what do you
He
think
probably
he did?
hurt you.
Yeah, and then Brienne's like, she grabs her sword, is like, Lady Sansa asked you a question, sucker, fool. I will
Say
cut
it.
you. Now say what she did.
Say it again.
Say
Say
what
it
she
again.
did. So Littlefinger goes into it and says he hit you.
Oh,
So
sword
she's
out.
like, he hit me. That's like the easy thing. What else did he do?
Did I break your concentration?
We're just gonna linger on this one moment. Just, oh, I will,
cracking up. I was
I
like,
will straight up jack you, son.
just give me a reason. Just give me
I
a
will
give me a
cut
reason.
you. Needless to say, it goes on for a few minutes. And Sansa telling all the worst things about Ramsay. Never any of his good side.
And none of the best. Yeah, it's very one-sided.
It is.
The Sansa Ramsay thing is very one-sided.
And
She's
she
like,
kind of,
you know, she was at the guidance counselor. She had to hold up the little doll. It's like,
Yeah.
she didn't do the compliment sandwich. He's got very nice hair. He beat me, raped me, he stabbed me, he cut me. He
But
has a
he didn't
nice
touch my
horse. Compliment
face.
sandwich.
He's a good cook.
He's a good cook. He's got
dog.
very loyal dogs.
Oh, man.
Anyways,
Too
so
soon.
she pretty much berates Littlefinger and says, "I don't trust you. I don't like you. I don't want you around me. I don't care what army you brought. Get out of here. You're done. We're done. This thing, we're over. It's done." And Littlefinger's like, "Well, hey, whatever. Maybe sometime we could get together." She's like, "No, we're not. It's over."
He's a baby. He's like, baby.
Girl,
Baby.
baby, please. Anyways, he tells her a little thing right at the end. He leans over and he's like, "Hey, just to give you a heads up, your uncle Brendan Blackfish over at River Run, he's got an army. You may want to get a hold of him. I'm out." The Littlefinger exits, drops the mic. Brienne's like, yeah, jumping at him again. It's crazy. So we go from there. We get to Arya. This is gonna be a long episode if we just keep goofing on everything. Arya. We go to Arya. She's training in the House of 1,000 Faces, many face guys. Oh, I'm sorry. A girl is training with a girl in a house, and a man is watching a girl fight a girl.
There was a cup involved. I don't know.
Oh, hey now. Anyway, so Arya's in training. She pretty much gets the crap kicked out of her, even though she jumps back up like she's about to do something, and then gets knocked right back down. Straight up punked.
Still training.
Do what?
It's like the other
still
girl.
training.
It's like the good girl. She's like gives her the Bruce Lee. She's like, okay.
Right, she comes at bow staff. Other girls like, I don't even need staff. I'm still going to take you down. And she just, man, that one girl just does not like Arya at all. It just keeps telling her, you're not going to make it. You're terrible. You're not good. Don't even try. And then a man is standing over the corner. He's like, she may have something.
Yeah.
Anyways, come with me. So they walk off, and he kind of goes into the history of the many-faced god and how they became a staple in that city, how they built that city in that temple there, and he kind of passes Arya a little vial of poison, so he's giving her a second chance. So this is her second chance to make a hit. She can move on from here. He asks her something. I forget what it was. It was. Are you ambitious or something like that? And she's like, a girl has no ambitions or has no feelings or something like that. And he's like, good job. You still follow the rules. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Still playing the game.
Yep. So she's picked to go kill an actress who's performing in the square. Which I think this is the part where it goes to it, right? I think that goes right into that, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. So we go straight from there. I'm sorry, my notes are a little messed up. We go straight from there to the play that's happening in the park. Arya standing in the crowd. And it's a rendition of what happened to Robert Baratheon and Eddard Stark when the Lannisters were down there, told in a very different way than what we saw it. But I think it was historically accurate.
Yeah. Well, I thought it was pretty accurate as way as comedic or playwright. I mean, everything that they put up there on the stage happened.
Well, they made Joffrey more caring, Cersei more caring.
With the exception of the characteristics, I mean, the
Eddard was a complete idiot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert's a complete idiot, all that stuff. But yeah, anyways, it goes to, and Arya has to sit there and pretty much watch her dad die again. But she can't show any emotion or any reactions to this in any way. It goes backstage and we get full frontal straight off the start there.
There we go. What do you think in HBO?
They just camera on, boom, straight at it.
Testicles in your face,
and,
whether you like it or not.
The actors are all backstage. They're talking to each other, and Arya's kind of paying attention and finds out that the actress she needs to take out only drinks rum. So she leaves. There's a little bit of conversation about the acting and things like that. So Arya comes back to a man and a girl have a conversation over a dead body. And she's like, I'll poison the rum. I think I'll do that. And then she's like, why did you need to die? I think it was the other girl that wants her killed. And a man tells her, hey, do you want to follow the many-faced god or not? She's like, yeah. Then you're a servant. You don't ask questions. But he said
we got paid for it already. I mean,
he says something very foreshadowing towards the end of this episode. He says, it's not all bad people that die. And not in those words, but he says, is
Right.
it only
Well,
the bad that die? Anybody can be killed at any time, kind of thing. You just see that now, and then you see the end of the movie.
I didn't pick up on that at the time.
Yeah, and there's another remark made like that later on that kind of foreshadows a little bit too. But so they go from there. It heads over to Bran and the Three-Eyed Raven, and they're walking up on a tree, a godswood, and it has a thing of rocks that are in a perfect design.
Well,
which
they're in one of their visions.
I thought they were tombstones.
They're
Were
not.
they tombstones?
It's just a
They're not?
design, and a lot of the things I saw later on was, if you remember when the Night's Watch went out and all the horses were killed, they were laid in that same design out in the snow. And then there was also another design made at the very beginning of the whole series when the first people were the wildlings were killed out by the White Walkers. But so they're in a design around this tree, and it's bright. Yeah, they were white. They're green Syrian or whatever. They're in the past, and they come on this Godswood. They come around the corner, and there's a bunch of children of the forest that are there, and a man tied to the Godswood, and all of a sudden, one of the children of the forest come out with like a dragon stone, a dragon dagger, dragon glass dagger, and shoves it into the chest of the man that's on the tree, and his eyes start turning blue. So it ends up that the creation of the Night's King is created by the children of the forest. And it jumps back there, and Bran and them come out of the vision.
What was their reasoning? Did you say what their reasoning was? To protect them from...
I was about to get to that.
Okay.
They jump out of the vision, and Bran's like, "You're the one that created him. Why did you create him?" And they're like, "Well, because of you. You were slaughtering us by the dozen. Man was coming over here and taking over all of our land and killing us, and we needed protection. So the children of the forest are actually the cause of the White Walkers because they're the first ones that created the Night's King." And whether that is because, for protection, but I think at some point they probably lost control of being able to handle his powers and what he had. So that's kind of cool. That was an excellent point in the series. You go from there, it jumps over to the Iron Isles, and they're having the King's Moot.
Moot, I think.
Where it's
King's
an
Moot?
election, King's Moot, where they're having an election to see who the next king is. And of course, Yara is the first one to come up and claim that she deserves the throne. They all jump on her like, you're a lady, you can't be our queen. And it should be Theon, he's the last son of the Greyjoys, he should be it. And Theon comes up and kind of promotes his sister, which is a really strong point too, because it shows trust between those two. He at that point, he could have said, no, I'm going to go for the throne.
Did you guys think for a minute that he was going to backtrack?
I think they were trying to make that happen.
Yeah,
but I didn't know if he would or not. But he follows her and says, yes, she's the one you need. I put my claim behind her. She is Ironborn. You guys have fought with her. You've bled with her. You know what she's about. It's pretty much everyone's in agreement until their uncle Euron.
I know that.
Euron.
His name's Euron, but yeah, every time it's like, Euron, really?
So Euron comes walking up, and he's like, oh, hey, no penis guy. Hey, sis, nephew, niece, sorry, I'm going to be the king. I called it. And Theo's like, you've not been here? How do you get a choice in this? He's like, oh, well, you can't really talk. He kept playing the whole, well, you don't have a penis, so you don't get to talk. And Theo's like, no, but you've never been here. Why would you? So they're kind of fighting for their side. And it does come to, he comes straight out and says, yeah, I killed your dad. He's like,
which I thought was interesting because, I mean, it's so far the other way of, like, what you have going on in King's Landing where people are secretly killing kings and everything's on the DL and people are lying. And this guy just is like, yep, I killed him. I knocked it. And he tells how he did. I knocked him off the bridge. I mean, you guys didn't like him. Nobody wanted to follow him, so I killed him. You're welcome. I mean, I thought that was
he even tells me, he's like, I wish I would have done it sooner. I'm sorry you guys had to deal with him so long.
Yeah.
My bad.
Let me say this, though. I was thinking about this last night. The people of the Iron Islands are the biggest bandwagoners.
Yeah.
Because they're like, no, woman can't, we've never had a queen. It should be Theon. And Theon said, no, it should be her. They're like, yeah, it should be her. Yeah, we're going to have a queen. And then Euron comes in. He's like, I'm going to do it. Yeah, he's going to do it. He can, I mean, like, nobody has any loyalty.
Like Cowboys fans.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Euron's argument was a little bit, number one, he's a male, and number one, he's a relative, but number two, I guess he sold them on his experience in his world travel. I mean,
True.
if you're going,
Right.
Well, he kind of dominated the conversation over the other two, and that's what got him the win.
there's just not enough backstory about the I don't want to say Greyjoys, the Iron Island people. What are they
There's
called?
more in the book than
Right.
that's shown in the show, but
because what
their whole
his,
story is really cool.
yeah, what his sister tells about them is that it was more than I even knew. I mean, it only flashes back when there's something that has to do with Theon. I mean, you never really find out much about how they're sea people and how they they own the ships and have the navy, but yet they try to invade and just get kind of swatted back to the ocean and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Well, in the last war, that's how Theon came to live with the Starks, is because they lost the Greyjoys lost the Iron Isles in war against them, and Theon was one of the prizes that they took one of Greyjoy's sons back with them to live with them, and he would train and grow up with their family and everything like that, and then come back to the Iron Isles at some point. But it was like a loss of a child. We get to take your son with us to kind of keep you quiet because we have your son. Although he's living fine, he's good. We're gonna let him be okay, but
don't start anything.
But don't start anything.
Don't start none.
Right,
Won't be none.
right. Exactly. So yeah,
I think the Iron Isles are pretty interesting though, because like their big thing is the sea.
yeah.
They command the ship, and they're really the only ones that. Well, that's not the only ones, but they have don't they have the largest majority of ships, and like their big thing is
Stannis
attacking
did too.
by
They had a
ships
big
and stuff.
ships fleet as well.
I
They're
assume
better
they're the-
at the sea because that's
Yes.
what they're near. That's what they.
I assume that's what I was saying. I'm assuming that they are the best sailors, but they're not as wealthy as the Lannisters or King's Landing and the other kingdoms where they can probably just buy more ships and have greater armies that can crush them. Though.
Yep. So Euron goes on to talk, and he's like, "I'm going to make all these ships, and we're going to go back overseas, and I'm probably going to marry Dany, and she's going to bring her dragons, and her army's going to follow me."
No,
and
say it like
so-
he said it. Say it like he said it, Dan.
with his big,
Yes.
with his swinging meat. He made some innuendos about how he was going to win that, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to seduce her. My ships will seduce her because that'll be something she needs, and therefore she'll need to marry me, and then I'm going to be king, and that's how I'm going to do it."
I don't think she
Like
needs
total
ships.
swag. He didn't even care.
Yeah.
He's like total confidence. He's like, "Doesn't matter. I got this. You guys just let me lead." And so he ends up winning. And at the end of that, he goes through the rebirthing, coming out of the sea, and it shows Yara and Theon and all those followers. They take off and steal some ships because they don't want to be there because they know they're going to die. But one of the best lines is after the drown man gets up and he comes up, he's like, "Where's my nephew and niece? I want to kill them. Let's go kill them. Let's go
Let's
murder
go kill
them."
him.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Bandwagoners, they're like Seahawks fans. They're like, yeah, let's go kill him. Yeah. Even though 5 minutes ago, they're like, let's have a queen.
Exactly. So it goes
I was
from there-
totally
Go
expecting
ahead.
him not to wake up, though. I was totally expecting him to drown and die.
So in the books, it like goes in depth. I mean, there'll be like 3 or 4 of them out there being drowned at the same time to follow the drowned god, and like 2 only survive.
Well, because isn't their
drown
big
them.
thing, and they said it right at the end of that, was something about those who die
Can't be
can't-
killed.
dead.
Yeah.
can't be killed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those who are dead.
And what
can't
is
be
dead
killed.
did never die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the books, they do kind of like a CPR kind of ceremony. They don't just lay the body there like, is he gonna live?
Well, I was wondering about that. It's like, is somebody going to at least beat on his chest or something? I mean,
No,
wait.
Yeah.
That's
So,
part of the ritual.
so we go from there and we get to Dany. This is where the sadness starts. This is a nice little sad part here. We get to Dany and Dario and Jorah are all talking, and Dany's like, I've sent you away twice. You've come back twice, and you saved my life. She's like, so I can't send you away. I can't keep you. What am I supposed to do? And then she goes walking towards him. He steps back, and then he shows him an arm, and he has got the threading skin. He's like, you have to send me away. And it kind of breaks Dany's heart. She's like, is there a cure? He's like, I don't know. And he kind of pretty much just right there admits to her, he's like, I love you. There's all there is to it. I lived to serve you. I love you. I know you'll never, pay that back or anyway, but I wanted you to know that, And she's
She
like,
friend zoned him.
yeah, well, it's not that. He was never going to be with her, but at least he admits to it and finally told her. And he goes to leave, and she's like, no, you're still, my servant. You pledged your life to me. I want you to go out and find a cure. I want you to be healed, and then I want you to be by my side when I go to Westeros and take it over. Meaning that he is always welcome back once he's able to find a cure, because I think that was her way of saying, I do care about you. I do want you in my group. I do want you here. If this is going to run you away, I do want you back, though. And that kind of gives him some validation there as he's walking away after he just kind of spilled his beans there. Like, hey, I love you. So you're gonna say it back, or?
I did love the look on his face. She says, "I order you to find a cure,"
right.
And the look on his face, I still wanted him to say, "But I'm not a scientist or apothecary," whatever they had back then. What I wanted him to be like,
you just see him face palm, but I'm not. Oh my God.
I don't know
I gotta
how
go
to
back to
do
school now.
Yeah.
Dang it, why did you order me? So
it would be like me saying, Dan, I order you to go build a working space shuttle. Don't come back till you do.
I'm like, son of a.
How am I going to pull this off?
So it ends the scene where the Dothraki are leaving Vas Dothraki, and Jorah's kind of overlooking everything. He's kind of looking on, and then he heads off in his own direction. And that's kind of where they left off with Dany there. We go from there back to Marine, the Marine pack, which is Varys, Grey Worm, Missandei, and Tyrion. That's kind of like the Rat Pack, but it's the Marine pack. And
they're like the Marine Breakfast Club.
So they're all sitting around there talking about, hey, how many slaves have died in the last couple of weeks or whatever? And they're like, none. How many masters? 2, but that was on the day when you met with them. They were a little upset.
I love how Grey Worm gives the caveat. He gives the asterisk with a disclaimer. Right. 2. But if you check the footnote, but that was on the day it happened.
Right. On the day you met with them, they were sensitive that day. But now, now everything seems to be cool. And then Varys like, look, you got a fragile peace going. He's like, yeah, but this isn't enough. They need to know all this came from Daenerys. Everyone needs to know all of this came from Daenerys, so they continue to follow her and see her in the way she should be seen as this, great leader. And that's not showing. It's like, oh, we got a fragile peace, but we want Dany to be the forefront of that to, show that. So how do we do it? And Tyrion has an idea. He's like, and Varys is like, well, where are we going to find a hero like that? He doesn't exist. He's like, it doesn't have to be a he. And it goes to the next scene where Varys and Tyrion are talking to the Red Priestess, who's the High Priestess. They give her name as like Kavara or something like that. Anyways, she's like the head of the Red God's Temple, I guess, the High Priestess. She's there, and Tyrion's like, hey, we kind of don't want you guys to lie about your religion, but Dany's really important to your religion, and it'd be really cool if you guys said how cool she was around everybody. And the Red Priest is like, no, we agree. This is our story. The non-believers will be bathed in fire, cleaned in fire, and all this stuff. So, well, maybe we don't need to burn everybody. We like a lot of religions around here. And she's like, don't worry, I'll get my most eloquent speakers to come over, and they will be in the streets praising Dany and everything she does. But before this finishes, Varys kind of steps in and is like, listen, hocus pocus lady, you and your magic. Okay. I get it. Ooh, religion. There's a big spaghetti monster in the sky. Got it. I don't believe anything you're saying. Don't be coming around here preaching all this stuff. And she kind of puts him in his spot. It's the first time you see Littlefinger and Varys kind of get put on point in this episode.
Because they have always had all the answers.
Oh, yeah. They always do. They always do. And she's like, Varys, remember what happened to you when your parts were thrown in the fire? Do you remember what was said then? Do you remember? Because I can tell you. And he's like, what?
It's the first time that Varys and then Littlefinger earlier in the episode, it's the first time they've been left speechless that I remember.
Yes.
They had no witty comeback, or they had no wise retort, or you can do this, but I know this that'll shut you up. They had no response whatsoever.
Yep.
Kinvara was her name.
Yes, thank you. But yeah, Varys is kind of speechless there. Just kind of like, okay, check and mate, Red Priestess. And so it goes from there. We jump back down to Bran.
Well, real quick though.
Oh, go ahead.
So a couple things and we talked a little bit about it last night after we watched it. So I kind of thought, well, before that, it was interesting that she knew about Vari's past. I mean, how did she know all that? Because she's a Red Priestess?
It could be. She may have saw a vision in the fire as well. She's like, what was the voice that was heard on that night? Do you remember what it said? And that kind of freaks him out a little bit where he backs up. And she's like, don't worry, we all serve the same queen. You don't have to be scared of me. All this stuff. And it's just kind of like, what does she know about me?
Exactly.
This is kind of creepy.
and then she mentioned that Daenerys, she says Daenerys is the one who was promised.
Yeah.
But you got Melisandre over there in the wall saying that, Jon was the one who was promised. So then that kind of whole leads into the whole R plus L equals J thing. If that is true, then Jon.
Well, remember, these are just people too. Their predictions may be right, but they may be following the wrong person, maybe backing the wrong horse. Melisandre thought Stannis was going to be the guy who's going to do it all, and that fell flat on its face.
Well, I guess I just mean that it's cool that to see you got two different red priestesses, but they believe that a different person is the one who was promised, but they both could be it.
Yeah.
And they're related, probably. I mean, we don't know for sure, but they're probably related. So I don't know. Yep. I don't know where I'm going with that, but it was just interesting to hear that another Red Priestess was saying the same thing about another character that we know for similar reasons.
Yep. So it goes from there. We jump back, and Bran's kind of sitting on the floor in the tree, bored, playing with the dirt. He's just kind of chilling. Everybody's asleep, not doing anything. He kind of throws a rock at the three-eyed raven, and he's not moving. He's like, you know what? I think I'm going to do some time traveling. And he crawls his little happy butt over to the tree and grabs the root.
He's like, what can I ruin today?
Right. He's done playing Xbox. He doesn't have anything to do. He's just bored.
He finished Uncharted 4.
That's right.
Doesn't know what game to play next. I can relate.
So he crawls over, he grabs the roots, and boom, he's off. And he's back at the same place he had visited earlier. This time there's snow everywhere, and the children of the forest are no longer there. And he's kind of chilling, and he walks around the God's Wood, and then it starts to pan around him, and it looks like trees in a forest, but it ends up panning out. Yeah, it ends up panning out, and it's the army of the whites hanging out there, and you're just like, oh, crap. Dang, Bran. And he's like, you can't see me. Shoot, son. I'm time traveling.
Me.
I'm good. And he just starts walking through them, not even no care in the world. Just,
starts walking through them like Rick Grimes wearing zombie flesh.
Right.
Walking through.
Just moving straight through. And he's walking through, and he's going towards the back because he sees the White Walkers and the Night's King back there. And he comes through, and the Night's King kind of stares at him, and he's like, whoa, can he see me? Probably not. I'm cool. And he turns, and the whole army is now facing him now. And the lights are coming onto their eyes, and he's like, oh, dang. And he turns, and then there's the Night King, like, right on him. Like, boom!
Grabs his arm.
He grabs his arm, and when Bran tries to run, and grabs his arm, and boom, Bran comes out of it. He's like, crap, he was right there. I just saw him. And the Three Ravens like, did he touch you? He's like, well, he was close. I don't feel like I was touched.
He said, "'Tis only a flesh wound."
Right. He's like, he touched you? It's like, yeah, he got me. And rolls up his sleeve and shows the mark. He's like, but we're okay, man. We're in the tree. We're in a protective shell. We got a force field on it. We're good. He's like, no, you just ruined that by getting touched by him. Now he's got his power inside. You just
way to go, Bran.
And then you back into the Matrix.
To go, Bran. So it cuts from there. We'll come back to that. Don't worry, folks. It leaves that point. We jump off to the wall pack. We'll call them. And that's Jon, Edison, Davos, Sansa, Brienne. They're all hanging around. They're talking about the war that's coming against Ramsay. And they're discussing, like, how many men they have to fight for, what can they do, where can they go to get more men. And they're talking about the North, really. And they discuss the three major houses and how one of them has or a couple of them have started following Ramsay, and all the biggest houses are behind Ramsay, but all the smaller houses, about 8 to 12 of them, if they gather all them, will have the same force that those three houses combined can bring.
There was a lot of math going on in that.
Yes, it was. And Sansa kind of comes out and says, "Oh, don't worry, my Uncle Blackfish, he's got an army at River Run. We'll go get him." And everybody's like, "How'd you know that?" And Sansa's like, "Ramsay got a raven before I left." Seriously.
Yeah.
Doesn't tell him about the meeting with Littlefinger. Whether she's playing both sides or she's not totally trustworthy of either side yet, that's to be seen. So she gets, she tells them that. They're like, "Great, we can go get him. He's a well-known fighter." Davos is like, "Great, he's a good-known fighter. This will be good to have on our side." And so the plans are made, and Sansa and Brienne walk out, and Brienne's like, "Why didn't you tell your brother about the Littlefinger meeting?" She's like, "Well, I just, I want to keep it to myself." And she's like, she tells Brienne she wants her to ride off and go to River Run to get the Blackfish to join them.
Is that the what do they call it? The Knight's Vale?
That's the Vale?
No,
Knights of the Vale?
that's the Eyrie. That's Littlefinger. They're River Run. That's where Catelyn is from. Catelyn and her sister. So John Arryn was the Lord of the Vale, who was the Hand of the King in the beginning of the series that was dead, who had Robin. And that was Catelyn's sister, and that was the Vale. The Black River Run was where Catelyn was from, and they went there during the Battle of River Run, and that's where Jaime got caught. Also that's where Catelyn's dad dies. They have that ceremony where they're shooting the arrows at the boat going down the river. So yeah,
River Run isn't wait, which was the place that had the giant hole down that they?
That's the moon door.
That's the moon door
Vale.
at the Eyrie. Yeah, the Vale.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. I don't know why I keep thinking Walder Frey and like
That's
where
the
Robb
twins.
Stark.
That's the twins.
The twins.
I don't know
that's
why
where
I
the
keep-
daughters. Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I keep thinking that.
Because his castle's a bridge over the river to get to the south.
Exactly.
River,
Okay.
River Bridge twins.
River Run Twin
Yeah,
Bridge.
River Run-
area.
River Run Twin.
Westfall Dragon's Blight. So they're all mounted up, and one of the greatest love stories start with Giant Spain and Brienne. Where Brienne looks over, he's just like, "Don't do anything stupid. Don't do anything stupid."
She's right there. She's right there.
Oh my God, she's looking at me. It makes the scene very awkward.
What's there? Can we? Is it okay for me to start tweeting that we ship Tormund and Brienne?
Do what?
Shipped.
That we ship them? That we want them together in a relationship?
Oh, dude, have you not seen... Listen, you're not a 14-year-old teen. You don't use shipped on this show.
What is their ship name?
There is no ship name.
Like,
This conversation's over because none of us are teenage girls.
I can't believe.
I cannot believe you
Oh,
just
like,
did that.
well,
all the adults that are watching the show, please refrain from listening to anything
So
Matt
you have Odyssey for Oliver and Felicity and Arrow.
Yeah,
What
totally
is
do.
Tormund and Brienne?
Anyway, so we move on, and
Fourth
Sansa brings a cloak to her brother, John, as a gift that matches her father's. And he's all excited about it. He's like, "Thanks so much, that's awesome." And she has a new dress on that has the wolf and everything across the top. Everybody mounts up, they head out, and a guy runs up to Ed, like, "Lord Commander, you want us to shut the gate?" He's like, "When did I become Lord Commander?"
Wait a minute.
All right, I'm Lord Commander.
We need to sign some kind of contract? Or...
Right. So we go there to what is the saddest moment in the series. And
So that concludes our episode. Thanks for watching, guys. We appreciate it.
he goes
We
back.
don't need to talk about anything else happening
Nope,
because if
we
we don't talk about it, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. So it jumps back to the end, and Bran and the Three-Eyed Raven are in. They're gone on their vision because pretty much the Three-Eyed Raven is just downloading like crazy to Bran. Like, "We got to get you to know as much as you can because this place is about to blow up." And
You've done everything up. You got to hurry up and learn.
exactly.
Son.
Mira and Hodor are there. They're talking, "Hey, we're going to go home. I'll make us some fried eggs." And Hodor's like, Hodor. And all of a sudden Mira's like, "Wait a minute. I heard something. And she goes running out the front door, and all the children of the Force are out there, and there stands the army of the undead, and of course the Night's King is there, and
the entire. I mean, that is a chilling scene.
Yes,
that entire.
Seeing that all out there. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So the children of the night, the children of the Force, like run, and Mira goes back in. They start throwing their spells: fireball, fireball, fireball.
Yep.
They're blowing up magic missile, ice shards, ice block, blah blah. And then it's throwing everything and just blowing up. I mean, it's like explosions going off, just blowing dead people.
It's like
everywhere.
a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
For about 20 seconds.
So in comes marching the Night's King. They set a fire at the front door. They come back inside to help out while Mirren's in there. She's pulling Bran. She grabs him. She's trying to throw him on the cart. She's like, Hodor, I need your help.
Bran is still. Well, yeah, he's still.
Yeah, Hodor's freaking out right now, and Bran is still gone. Now, Bran is in Winterfell when Hodor is a child and is still named Willis at the time and still is able to talk. So he has seen this unfold there as what's unfolding in the future. So they throw Bran on the cart, and the army gets around the tree and start digging in and start jumping down inside of the base there. So the kids the children of the Force are all fighting all these guys off, and people are getting killed left and right. One of the White Walkers come in, and old Mira picks up a spear with a dragon glass thing on it and pierces him and kills him, which is awesome.
Where did she get that?
That was just one of the spears that the children of the Force had inside the tree.
Yeah, they were setting up inside the door there. If you watch.
So they're all fighting. People are getting killed left and right. Hodor's still freaking out, and Mira's going, warg into Hodor. You need to warg into Hodor now. We got to get out of here now. We need Hodor. So Bran does something that nobody thought would happen. In the past, he wargs into the past Hodor to make the future Hodor work for him to pull the cart and get him out, which is really weird. So
I don't understand that. Like, why did he warg into past Hodor to control future Hodor?
To get the, I don't know. That is whatever. Maybe it controls the mind of the future. I don't know. He had to jump into a Hodor somewhere. That was the closest one. Hodor grabs the cart, starts moving out. The children of the Force are getting killed here, left and right. They start moving out. And the funny thing is, when Bran does this, the Three-Eyed Raven tells him, yeah, you better do what your friend's yelling at you to do. Warg into him now. Everybody's getting killed. They start heading out. The Night's King comes in and puts down the Three-Eyed Raven just with one slash. Boom, he's dead. Another sad scene happens because Summer comes running in there, the dire wolf, to kind of give them a way to escape, and pretty much gets slaughtered.
Gets torn to pieces instantly, almost.
But it gives them that few seconds to get away. They're heading down the back tunnel, and there's just non-stop horde of just undead flooding down. The last child of the forest is standing there with an explosive. She gives them a few more seconds to get ahead, and blows herself up and takes out a bunch of the army. They get to the door, they bang it open, and they knock open the door, and Bran and Meryn and Hodor are able to get out the door, and they slam it shut, and Hodor has to stay to hold the door shut. And when they're running away, Mira's yelling back at him saying, hold the door, hold the door. And when that happens, the Hodor in the past hears that and kind of has like a mental break. And I'll explain kind of what some of the theories are to that. But he has a mental break, and he starts yelling, hold the door, hold the door, hold the door. And
almost like a seizure.
Yeah, exactly. And you finally realize what Hodor means from what's being said here is hold the door, which turns into Hodor at the last point, and our sweet Hodor dies at the end,
holding the door and
doing as he was tasked to do, to keep the army in there. And you see Bran and Meryn, they get away, Mira get away out into the night, and it fades out with Willis becoming Hodor by saying the phrase over and over until it sounds just like Hodor, and then it fades to black. And that's the end.
Oh, and that was
it was sad.
They played the "Someone You Care About is About to Die" music.
Yeah. Right when that started, when you see the first axe come through the door, it goes to that sombering tone, and you're just like, no.
That's how I I'm gonna put our reaction video up too. Like the minute you hear that music, I was like, oh no, I know what that music means.
Yeah.
That if they hadn't played that, I kind of would have thought, oh man, Hodor's holding this door shut. I hope he runs away here in a minute.
Right,
Nope.
right.
The minute that music cuts on, you know that he's a goner.
Yep. Well, the funny thing is that caused a huge blow up on the internet today. This has been an extreme thing talking, like it just changed the whole style of the show. Just now the whole thing is about Bran. Because what happens is when Bran can go back in time and affect the timeline, has Bran been going back in time affecting the timeline? So you always hear about the famous Brandon the builder who built the wall and put a shield on it and protected it with magic effects. That could be Bran now, going back in time to make sure the wall is built so it's there in his time. Bran could have been the one where went back to the Mad King, where the Mad King kept saying, burn them all, but he hears the voices in his head is Bran and Mira talking about burning the White Walkers, and he's yelling this, and Jaime ends up killing the Mad King because he keeps screaming about yelling, burn them all, burn them all. There's all this new stuff that comes in because now it's all time travel with Bran jumping through time.
And what do comic book writers say, Matt, about making a superhero? Don't make them invincible and don't make them be able to travel through time.
Right. Travel through time is a very big just, hey, what's the word?
Anything is
Deus
possible
Machina
now.
or whatever they say.
Yeah, Deus Ex Machina. Yeah,
Deus Ex Machina, where it's just here's a plot point to fix the problem. Yeah, it's there we go. We'll do time travel. Boom.
I don't love, admittedly, I don't love that we're talking about Game of Thrones and now we're talking about time travel.
Right.
It just seems like we're mixing fantasy and Back to the Future, like science fiction. I don't.
Right.
It's like ninjas and pirates. You don't mix fantasy and science fiction. You know, I mean, it's.
Yeah. I don't want it to be time travel, and I hope it's not. But that's.
And I think that's probably dumb to say time travel because he's not technically traveling through time, but his power.
If he can effectively affect people, and people can touch him physically, he is moving through time through that tree or through his powers. He's technically moving. Now this brings up other issues too, because some people are saying that the person in the tree, the three-eyed raven, is actually Bran teaching himself all this stuff that he has to know, and that is actually when Bran dies, is when the three-eyed raven is cut down in this episode. And that's his older version of himself that's been in this tree for so long. But it's because he's been going back and forth through time that he doesn't know all this yet. And that he has to teach himself as much as he can as quick as possible or he won't be able to do it. The other thing is, the shield fell down on the tree once Bran was touched. If Bran goes south, he destroys the shield around the wall, which then the White Walkers can move through and move into Westeros.
So explain it. What do you mean if he goes south? Like,
so Bran has the mark.
They're north of the wall now.
They are.
Right?
They're north of the wall. He has the mark of the Night's King. The Night's King. And remember, the three-eyed raven told him, now that you have that, you've killed the shield that's been protecting us around us. I
get it.
And if he's Bran the Builder from the past that built the wall, then all of a sudden, if he goes through the wall back south, he destroys the protection that's around that wall that keeps the Night Walkers out. Or keeps the White
That's right.
Walkers
That's
out.
because I think, weren't we talking about that in chat today? I forgot that he was north of the wall.
Yeah. So he's still up north. Now, this also brings into another effect that some people think Benjen Stark is still alive, who is one of the Rangers, who hasn't been seen since Series 1. Mm-hmm. There's a character that comes into play in the books, and I think his name is Cold Hands or something. But it's this guy who's cloaked, riding this giant elk north of the wall that helps Bran along the way. And everybody thinks, well, that's got to be Benjen Stark or whatever. There is an opportunity to bring that character in now because Bran and Mira are by themselves. So and from what we saw, they're about to be surrounded and with no way out. Somebody's got to save them. So they may bring in this new character. And I don't know who he is. He may be able to help Bran learn more. But this threw all kinds of crap on the internet today. If you went to the Reddit or any kind of postings about Game of Thrones, it just went crazy.
I do want to real quick read
everywhere.
One Reddit comment that Travis sent to us. I don't know who posted it, so whoever you are, this is hilarious. So, in one fell swoop, Brandon Stark managed to get Summer killed, to get the Children of the Forest killed, to get the Three-Eyed Raven killed, and as a cherry on top, to ruin Hodor's entire life while also getting him killed. and he accomplished it all by doing the one thing he was consistently told not to do.
Well, the other thing is, too, that there's theories about Hodor. It's like, all right, so Bran went back in time. When he wargs into somebody, he gives commands that the warged mind has to do. So when Bran wargs into the young mind of Willis, he is giving the command of hold the door. And Willis is now connected to the future Hodor and seeing his own death and watching this all go through. And this is too much for Willis to handle, so his mind snaps because he can't accomplish the task that's been asked of him because he's young right now. And secondly, he's watching his own death play out right there in front of him. So when Hodor holds the door and it goes through that whole point, that's what makes Willis's mind snap, and that's why he starts saying hold the door, hold the door, hold the door, and ends up being Hodor from then on out. So some people say that the theory is that from that point on, he knew when he was going to die, and he lived with that, and part of him dealing with that is how his mind snapped, and he just came an innocent, just, special needs type person. It's insane. Yeah,
that just blows my mind. I mean, especially the whole, the Mad King and burn them all. I mean, if that comes out, if that happens to be true, that's going to be just insane.
Yeah. So it's like Bran is now the focal point of the series. It's like if Bran is causing all the history to get up to this point, he has to make all these things happen within the past.
Well, his story, that particular storyline, is now my favorite and like the one I'm most interested in seeing because I feel like it's the one that has the most weight right now, has the biggest impact. Sure, you've got people bickering about who's going to be king, and you've got Dany trying to get an army, and Ramsay Bolton, trying to do his thing, but I feel like the biggest impact is with Bran and all this White Walker stuff, because that has been the looming threat, and that's the real fight with the White Walkers. And once they cross that wall, there's no telling what's going to happen.
Remember, I also love the point where the Night's King put his hand on the ground and calls the earthquake to shake the tree and all that stuff. If Bran goes back through the wall and the shield's not there, he could do the earthquake thing and bring the whole wall down.
He's going to bring the wall down. That's going to be an epic. I think that's.
Remember, Jon says in this episode, "I'm leaving. Don't get it torn down while I'm gone." Or he says something to the fact of, "Don't leave it standing, please." This is foreshadowing away, and it's like the wall is about to go kapoof.
That almost literally makes my mind just. I mean, it's a whole different show almost. I mean, it's a whole new set of rules.
Yep.
That could lead into all these things. It's like I said last night with the Hodor thing. Bran causing Hodor to become Hodor is the same as Kyle Reese being John Connor's dad. Like, it's like you've got future person affecting the past, which affects the future. But where was the beginning of that? I mean.
Well, and the sad thing is, I fault Bran because I'm mad at him now for everything he just did.
Like, he ruined the world, basically.
But you can tell, when he went back at first and saw that Hodor or Willis could talk, he was so happy. He's like, he used to be so fun and everything. That's so awesome. And then he ends up doing this, and he's so sad in the face when Willis is laying on the ground yelling that. It's like he's so defeated and guilty feeling.
So what was the rule that Bran broke? Did he go alone? Is that what it was?
He got touched by the Night's King.
I know, but in all the other time traveling, did he not know that they could actually see him, or he didn't know that the Night's King had the power?
He hasn't been taught that stuff, and not everybody has seen him. So I'm guessing certain people have specific powers that would be able to see him.
He was
still not seen by Willis, and then when he's watching Hodor flip out. So
he was told not to go by himself. He was also told to not go back for too long.
Yeah.
But it was almost like a drug. It's like he was getting addicted to going back and having, and he when he threw the rock at the Three-Eyed Raven, he was making sure he was still zoned out so that Bran could then go back.
It was almost like Inception. He's almost
he's it's like when he was warging all the time, when he was traveling with him going into summer all the time. It was because he can run and he can move, and he's fast and he's a wolf, and he has his legs back in that moment, and he just wanted to stay in there all the time. But the more and the longer longer you linger, the worse it gets, or you may end up losing yourself completely by staying away from your body too long.
That's right.
So he doesn't know all that yet. He hasn't been taught any of this. And that's why the guy, when he says, am I ready? He's like, no, you ain't even close, bro. So, but anyways, that is Game of Thrones. I thought it was an amazing episode.
It was amazing.
Very, very sad that one of the most innocent people in the entire series ends up dying.
This is, if nothing else, in case you didn't think, in case you still didn't have this through your head, in 6 seasons of Game of Thrones, nobody is safe. Even innocent Hodor. Nobody is safe. If Hodor can die, anybody can die.
And I give George R. R. Martin props for telling this from the very beginning. He knew how Hodor got the name and what he was supposed to do when he was writing book 1 all the way to book 5 or whatever, 6 when he knows where this payoff is coming. And that's awesome. And
it's funny because if you watch the after show, the producers talk about, because they haven't, because the books aren't finished.
Yeah.
So they had to talk to Martin about Hodor's origin, and they're like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah, they said it blew their mind too. When he said sitting in a hotel room hearing this, and it just blew our minds.
Yeah, they said it was one of the most heartbreaking things to hear, that was going to happen, which is true because it just sucks. It's Hodor. Everybody loves Hodor. Anyways, we've gone really long in this episode, but we hope you guys really liked it. It was a great episode, so I think that's why we spent so much time talking about it here at the end. A lot of interesting theories and stuff have come out, so keep up with that. But the next episode is just going to keep building. The season's awesome so far. Keep watching it. We thank you for watching. Come by the Nerd Punch channel, youtube.com/nerdpunch. Hang out, see some of our other videos, some of our gaming videos. If you want to watch us play some games, go over to twitch.tv/nerdpunch. Hang out with us over there. We're going to be playing some Overwatch and some Total War Warhammer later this week, too. You can always find our stuff at... you can find us at Nerd Punch on Twitter, Facebook.com/NerdPunch. You can email us at nerdpunch@gmail.com. Anything with Nerd Punch on it and it's social media, we're attached to it. So just search Nerd Punch, you'll be fine. But we appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
See ya.
See ya.
I gotta stop the plane. Hold on.